He's under the weather.
So you need the dog one for tomorrow or for tonight?
Sorry?
The dog one you need for tomorrow or for tonight?
Yeah, for tomorrow. For tomorrow. Ready? Is it time?
Shabbat Shalom. Please open your prayer books, your Sidurim, on page 128 to begin this new Shabbat together with the Yedida Nefesh in the middle of the page.
Yedid nefesh ha'aman, Yedid nefesh ha'aman, Meshoika deka, Eretzaneka, Yaretzaneka, Yai nai 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 nai, Eretzaneka. Together. Yaretzaneka, Kemayan, Yishtakavemu, Yai nai 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 nai, Mudhatzarecha, Yai dai dai. Yai nai 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 yai nai 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 yai nai 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 yai nai 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 yai nai 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 yai nai 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 yai nai nai nai
When I was walking down to the synagogue a few minutes ago, I was thinking that if Halloween would have been a Jewish holiday, in the Mishnah or in the Talmud, they were going to ask the question that they ask about every Jewish holiday. What happened when Rosh Hashanah falls on Shabbat? What happened if Yom Kippur falls on Shabbat? What happened if Halloween falls on Shabbat? We have a very small minion, but a beautiful minion. We assume that most of the kids are not going to be here, but we still celebrate Shabbat. According to the Talmud, doesn't matter what holiday falls on Shabbat. Shabbat, you do not move it. Anything could happen in the world, but Shabbat will still be there. Some things in the liturgy, some things in the observance of the Jewish holidays when they fall on Shabbat, something changed. But Shabbat always takes precedence. They even ask, what happens if there's a Brit Milah on Shabbat? You do it on Shabbat. So yes, over there outside, there should be many kids and adults doing trick and treat. But we are here in our synagogue, and there will be sweet things, challah at the end, and sweet wine for all of us. But when any holiday coincides with Shabbat, we are still here as a community observing and celebrating this day of rest. And now I will invite all the women from our congregation that would like to partake in the mitzvah of lighting the Shabbat candles to please come towards the bima. And for a couple of months, this will be the last Shabbat that we are going to light the candles at the beginning of the service. Because starting from next week, even though we are going to still celebrating Shabbat at 6:30 p.m., Shabbat will begin very early. As we change the clock, we connect with nature and the rhythm of times. So please come and partake in this beautiful mitzvah and add more light to our sanctuary. Please, everybody rise. And if you're at home, this is the right time to go grab your Shabbat candles so we can mark the beginning of this day together. We may be seated, and we start the journey as we do every Friday night, 6 psalms, 6 songs, one for each day of the creation, on page 130. Lehunena la Adonai.
Lekunayranana, 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 ladonai. Lekunayranana, 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 ladonai. Lekunayranana, 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 ladonai. Lekunayranana, 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 ladonai. Naria, Naria, letzishenu, nekat ma'efana b'toida. Naria, Naria, letzishenu, mi'ez Naria lo. Lekunayranana,
Lehunena, lehunena la Adonai.
lekunayranana.
And it was the evening and it was the morning of the second day of the creation. We are now in the middle of page 131. Ismechu hashamayim betagel haaretz.
Yismaku hashamayim, hashamayim, yismaku hashamayim, hashamayim, yismaku hashamayim, v'tagei haaretz. Yismaku hashamayim, hashamayim, yismaku hashamayim, v'tagei haaretz. Yiramayam, 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 Yismoku hashamayim, hashamayim,
Ismechu hashamayim,
hashamayim,
Ismechu hashamayim.
Betagel.
Light is sun for the righteous, radiance for the upright. We are now at the bottom of page 132. Or Zarua, La Tzadik.
Or Zarua, La Tzadik, O Yisrael, Simcha. Or Zarua, La Tzadik, O Yisrael, Simcha. Simcha Tzadikim Badunai Atu Lezecher Kachon Zarua La Tzadik Yisrael Simcha. Just you.
Or Zarua, La Tzadik, O
Yisrael
Mismor shir l'Adonai, shir chadash, ki niflahot asa. Sing to God a new song. On page 134, celebrating the fourth day of the creation, Zambru.
Zamru l'Adonai b'chinor, b'chinor v'kol zimra together, b'hatzotzrot v'kol shofar, hariu lifnei hamelech Adonai. Yiram hayam u'meloro, tevel v'yoshveiva, neharat imchakav, yachad harim yiranenu, lifnei Adonai kiva, kiva lishmot haaretz, yishpot tevel b'tzedek, מימים במי שערים. ירם הים ומלארו, טבע ויוסביבה, נהרות עם חלקב, יחד הרים ירוננו.
So we continue to celebrate each one of the days of the week. On page 135, the last verse of the page, Romemu.
Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'kishtakavu lahai kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'kishtakavu lahai kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'kishtakavu lahai kodsho. V'kishtakavu lahai kodsho.
On page 136, the psalm for this Friday, for the sixth day of creation, Mizmor LeDavid.
Mizmor LeDavid, Havul Adonai b'nei Elim, Havul Adonai kavod va'oz, Havul Adonai kevod shemav v'yishtaka, Havul Adonai ha'zot kol rodesh, Kol Adonai al hamayim el hakavod yirim. Yay nay 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 nay, yay nay 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 nay, yay nay 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 nay, yay nay 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 nay, ya nay 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 nay, ya nay 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 nay, ya nay 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 nay, ya nay 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 nay, Adonai oz le'amor yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom.
May God grant strength to His people. May God bestow on His people peace. Page 138, to receive Shabbat as a community, as a people, we go together to receive our beloved. Lecha dodi likrat kala.
Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabala.
Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabala.
Shamor v'zachar v'nimrechad yismiyanu, elam yechad Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, Shemo tiferet, b'letekilah, likrat Shabbat l'kruven echad, ki yimekor, habaraka mirosh mikedem, נצוקה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה.
לך דוידי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
3. לקשש מלכים מלוכה כמי צאי מתקה הפיכה רב לך שבר בימי קבחה ברוך יחמול עלי כמלה התחדודי לקראת קהלה פני שבת נקבלה.
לך דוידי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
התנאים יפת מלבשי בגדי תפארתך מיד בן ישי מיץ חלק מקבר נפשי גאלה
לקראת קהלה, פני שבת
נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה
פני שבת נקבלה.
יצאי במי כי בעורך מיעמי שידבר כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה.
לך דוידי לקראת קהלה,
פני שבת נקבלה.
לקראת קהלה,
פני שבת נקבלה. לא תבשי ולא תקמי מה תשתוקקי ומה תהמי בך יחסו אני יאמר ונבנתה אל תילה. לך דוידי
לקראת קהלה,
פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה פני שבת נקבלה.
Please rise and let us face the entrance of our Beit Knesset, of our shared home, and each one of our houses to receive all the sweetness that this week has prepared for us, to receive the Shabbat with all the blessings of peace, of healing and renewal.
Boi v'shalom עצרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצבוי לבוא תורך אמוני המסר גבולה לא יכלה לא יכלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה פני שבת נקבלה. פני שבת נקבלה.
Let's be seated. As we sit, we really make the Shabbat the conscious decision to rest, to stop. On page 140, the song, the psalm for this day of rest.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות עלי עצור ויעלי נבל עלי היגיון בכנור מזמור שיר טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון. Shabbat Shalom. So this week's Torah portion is Lech Lecha. Lech Lecha means go to yourself, And it's the first words of the Torah portion when God is talking to Abraham and tells Abraham to embark upon a journey. And really, without exception, this journey is the journey to the land of... Okay, it was not very difficult. Actually, it was the journey towards Canaan, which was the land of Israel. Interestingly enough, though, those words, Lech Lecha, do not take place in the Torah in any other portion except this Torah portion where they are repeated a little later, where again, once Abraham has reached Canaan, the land of Israel, again, God says, Lech Lecha, go to yourself, this time to Mount Moriah. So perhaps there is a deeper meaning to this idea of Lech Lecha, because he's already gone to the destination, but then again, these words are used again. And a hint of that may be in the word Lecha. Lech would just mean go someplace, go to Israel, go to Mount, but it says Lecha, to yourself. We'll allow you to sit down. Lech Lecha, go for yourself. Maybe this is hinting towards not just a physical journey, but a spiritual journey. Increase your spirituality. And a message is that when we increase our spirituality, it's not like going to a destination. Once you're there, you're there. It is repeated throughout our lives. And that may be why Lech Lecha is repeated in this Torah portion. And there is one more hint as well as to what these words Lech Lecha mean. If you take the numerical value of the word Lech, it is 50. And if you take the numerical value of the word Lecha, it is also 50, which makes, very good, which makes 100. And it is curious that the founding father of Judaism, Abraham, had the second generation, Isaac, when he was 100 years old. So maybe there's still hope for me. To a land that I will show you. Lech Lecha, to a place you do not know. Lech Lecha, on your journey I will bless you. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing, Lech Lecha. Lech Lecha, and I shall make your name great. Lech Lecha, and all shall praise your name. Lech Lecha, to the place that I will guide you. L'simchat chayim, for a life of blessing. L'simchat chayim,
Page 144, Hatzi Kaddish, to mark the beginning of this evening service.
יתקדש ויתקדש שמי רבה בעמד יברך ירצי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומייכון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב יאמרו יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה יתברך וישתבח ירבה ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקדושן לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבקתה ונחמתה זעמירן בעלמא ואמרו.
We continue on page 146 for Baruch.
Ya nay 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 Baruch et Adonai Ha'mevorach Baruch Adonai Ha'mevorach Le'olam Le'olam va'ed La lay 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 ya nay 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 nay
Ya lay 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 ya lay 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 ya
nay 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 ya nay 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 nay.
We may be seated. On page 148, the first one of the two blessings that prepare us and give us the kavanah, the intention for the Shema Israel this evening. Please join me in the middle of the page in English. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in the heavenly chord according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzvaot is your name. Ever living God, may your reign continually over us into eternity. Baruch Ata Adonai Ha'ma'ariv Arabim. The second one of the blessings on page 150. The blessing of love, the blessing of Torah, the blessing of the mitzvot. Please join me this time at the top in Hebrew. Ahavat olam, Beit Israel amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim otanu limata. Al ken, Adonai Eloheinu v'shokbeinu bekumeinu, nasiach bechukecha, v'nismach bedibrei toratecha, u'bemitzvotecha, leolam vahed.
Ki hem chayenu together v'yorech yameinu uvahem nege yomam v'layla v'yahavatcha al tasim imenu le'olamim Baruch ata Adonai ohev amo Yisrael.
Amen. Please rise. And let us all close our eyes to be able to hear more, to proclaim the unity of God, the unity of creation, and the unity of humanity.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchutza Le'olam Vaed.
Please be seated. Page 154, the first paragraph of the Shema Israel together. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך ובהרת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתן להות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על משושות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. We continue at the top of page 157 to prepare us for the Micha Mocha. Please join me. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go is eternally Egypt, that there's a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together, as we sing the song of freedom, the song of redemption. Page 158, Micha Mocha.
Micha Mocha ba'elim Adonai Lai 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 Yai lai 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 Yai lai 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 Micha Mocha ba'elim Adonai Mikamboka neidar bagavanesh Dorati ilata seifele Dorati ilata seifele Malkutcha ra'uvanecha Poki ayam lifnei Moshe Miriam Zeilian Uviyam Adonai Milo Leolam Vare bnei Maki v'ad Adonai Jacob Ugi alom yad chazak mimenu Baruch ata Adonai Kal Yisrael Lai 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 Yai lai 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 Yai lai 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 Yai lai 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 Yai lai
On page 160, the last one of the blessings after the Shema Israel, when we ask God to protect us, to keep us safe during the night and times of darkness in our life.
Hashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu L'shalom Hamideinu Shomereinu L'chaim Hashkiveinu
Adonai Eloheinu L'shalom
Hamideinu Shomereinu L'chaim.
Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your counsel for your name's sake. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore.
Ushmor tzeitzenu ulvoreinu lechayim u'shalom be'atzah v'yad olam Hashkiveinu
Eloheinu L'shalom
Hamideinu ושומרנו לגויים.
Baruch Ata Adonai, הפורש סוכת שלום עלינו, ועל כל עמו ישראל, בעל ירושלים. The people of Israel shall keep the Shabbat, observing the Shabbat throughout ages as a covenant for all time. Page 162, the Beshambrot.
ושמרו בני ישראל
לעשות את השבת
לדורותם בארץ עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל לא יהיה לעולם עוד יהיה עולם. ושמרו
בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת מים נפש בש.
בני ישראל
את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדייתם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדייתם ברית עולם.
Please rise once again. And this is the time for our private prayers, for the Midah, the standing prayer, putting our hearts and our bodies towards the ark, facing the land of Israel. We can use the words of our tradition on page 164 to try to pray, or we can take a few moments of silence to elevate our own prayers this evening.
מי שברך אבותינו מקור הברכה לאמותינו. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen.
נשברך אבותינו אברהם יצחק ויעקב, אמותינו שרה רבקה רחל ולאה. הוא יברך ורפא את כל החולים בתוך קהילתנו. May the one who bless and heal our ancestors also bless and heal for our friends and relatives in need of healing. This Shabbat Kodesh who has refuah shleima for Miriam Blima Bat Reisel, Uriel Jacob Ben Keren Or, Orit Bat Malka Bobby Sigal Beth Ginsburg, Phyllis Pin-El, Kenny Pomeranz, David Kreis, Brooke Shapiro, Scarlett Pardo, Sandy Grotsky, Nisa Walden, Ivan Pelton, Alan Gedden.
מי שברך עם ארצנו מקום ברכה לביתנו. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shleima, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirits, and let us say, Amen.
We may be seated. The book of Bereshit, the book of Genesis, maybe out of all the books of our beautiful and wise Torah, is a real challenge for rabbis. Not because there's not content to share, sometimes it's just because there's too much. It's a big challenge when you open and you read again every year Parashat Lech Lecha, like this week Torah portion, to decide in what do I want to focus? What do I want my message of Torah to be this year to my beautiful and wise congregation? What do I share? You all know part of the story, and the most well-known part of this story is what Rabbi Mark shared before. The beginning of the journey of the one that will become the forefather of our nation. But as Rabbi Mark pointed before, this story, as the story of our people, is a journey. The journey that was begun by Abraham and Sarah 3,900 years ago. We are still in some way or another those wandering Jews, continuing our journeys. But this week Torah portion is not only the journey of Abraham from the south of Turkey to what today is the state of Israel. When they are already in the land of Israel, after a few years they need to go on another journey towards Egypt, because there's no food. There's no rain and there's no food in the land of Israel. And when they come back to the land, and finally Abraham thinks, I can settle here, something terrible happened in his family. Most people think that family fight when there's not too many resources. But the Torah teaches us that it's just the opposite. The more resources there are, the more fights are inside the family. When there's little to share, people will find a way to share that little loaf of bread. But when there's millions or billions of dollars, that's where the fights will happen. And it happens between Abraham and his nephew Lot. They started to fight because they were both shepherds. And there was not enough, says the Torah, enough room around, enough space for their sheep to pasture. So they started to fight, the workers of Lot and the workers of Abraham. And Abraham, above all, was always a peacemaker. He didn't want to fight. And he says, you know what? We have too much. We have too much. But the land is big enough. Let us not fight any longer. If you go to the north, I will go to the south. If you go to the west, I will go to the east. Just decide where, Lord, you want to settle with your family, with your sheep. And let us continue to be family, and let us not fight because of the abundance of our sheep. So Lot looked at the map without Waze, and he says, here. He points on the southeast of the Dead Sea. And he says, I want to go there. I want to go to Sodom. Abraham says, okay, if you go there, I will continue my journey far away. I will go up north. I will go to Hebron. So then the journey of Abraham continues in some way, but I want to focus today in the decision of Lot of going to Sodom. And maybe I didn't plan it, but it was good for kids not to be here this evening. If I tell you the word sodomizers and sodomy, what I'm talking about? Sin. Yes? But what kind of sin? Carnal sin. Sin with our body. A sexual decision that shouldn't be the right one. Right? Everybody who heard the word sodomy, sodomizers, comes from here. So today I want to take you into another journey. Not the one of Abraham, but the one of how do we choose to read our holy text as the Torah. Today in the world, if you hear the word sodomy, you think about people who deviate from the norm, whatever the society understands that the normal sexual conduct should be. But let me ask you one question. This is what it's written in the Torah? In our own weak Torah portion says, and Lot went to live in Sodom, and the Torah says, B'anshei Sodom ra'im b'chata'im la'Adonai me'od. And the people of Sodom were wicked and sinned against God a lot. It doesn't say what they did wrong. We know that Cain is punished because he killed his brother. Killing is bad. We know that the generation of the flood were flooded because it says, and the earth became filled of Hamas, of corruption and robbery. So we have killing that is wrong. We have robbery that is wrong, and it's stated there. We know why Cain was punished. We know why the universe was punished in the generation of the flood. Even in the story of the Tower of Babel, we know that was some kind of idolatry. So we know that these three generations, people were punished because of killing, because of theft, and because of idolatry. But what about the people of Sodom? It just stated that they were evil, wicked, and sinning against God. It will be only next week Torah portion when we will see some things that were terrible wrong about these people. When the angels come to the city of Sodom, nobody offers them a place to stay. And when the angels go inside the house of Lot, they knock at the door and they say, give us these people so we can know them. And you know what knowing means in the Bible. So yes, from that passage, not the Jewish reading, but the Christian reading of the Bible connects that the idea of sodomy has to do with some sexual thing. The sin of the flesh. Contra natura in Latin. St. Augustine and other leaders of the church make this interpretation. And from there it goes to the world. So now if you hear the word sodomy and you connect it with something related with sexuality, let me tell you something, my friends. That's almost not ever a Jewish understanding of that sin. So what was the sin of Sodom and Gomorrah? What was the real sin? Not the Western understanding, not the Christian understanding. We are Jewish, my friends. So what is our own understanding? Look what the prophet Ezekiel said 1,000 years after the fact. Behold, this was the iniquity of your sister Sodom. Pride, fullness of bread, and prosperous ease. But she did not strengthen the hand of the poor and the needy. So the first one ever, the first Jew that tried to understand why the cities of Sodom needed to be destroyed, what was the moral decay of that people? Nothing connected with what you thought before entering this Shabbat. Ezekiel says, pride and arrogance, abundance without empathy, indifference towards the poor. And the Talmud continues and tries to understand what was so wrong about these people that when we think about an immoral society, we think about Sodom. What was so wrong about these people that immediately we hear the word Sodom and we associate it with sin? And what's the source, says the Talmud, of this sin? And look what the Talmud says, and I find it that is amazing. The people of Sodom became proud and haughty because of excessive goodness that God bestowed upon them. What led them to become a sinful nation? All the earthly blessings that they receive. And if you're not moved by this idea, I don't know what can move us as human beings. I think it's a wonderful and powerful idea of our rabbis 2,000 years ago. They tried to understand what was so wrong about these people. How could these people become so synonym of evilness? Because God gave them a very good land. A land that whatever they put in the ground grew without a problem. And maybe that's the reason why Lot decided to go there. Because outside that place in the land of Canaan, they needed to work much harder to grow their vegetables and their cereals. But over there in the land of Sodom, was plenty, was beautiful. And maybe then you will understand why later on that place became full of salt. Because if you want to destroy the agriculture of a place and make sure that nothing ever will grow again there, you pour salt. So why they were they suffer and they became full of salt? Because what led them to sin was that they had too much. And immediately, because they had too much, they had a decision to make. Do we share with others, or we keep it to ourselves? And according to our rabbis, 90% of all the Jewish interpretations in the Talmud, in the Midrash, in the classic rabbinic commentaries of the medieval times, they do not talk about Sodom and the sin of sexual immorality of any kind. They talk about a people that created walls and mistreated the stranger and the poor. That's it. The poorer the society is, usually the more welcoming they are. If you travel around the world and you travel to very poor villages in South America, in Asia, in Africa, you will be amazed of the hospitality of the people. And that was the culture of the Middle East that Abraham and Lot lived. And Sodom became the only place in that region that cut that tradition. They had too much that they saw every stranger passing around as a threat. They decided that the blessing that God gave to that land was only for them. Let me give you just a few examples, and believe me, to say what I'm saying this evening, believe me that I took the time to look almost over every single rabbinic interpretation. Just a handful talk about what you usually understand that is sodomy. But the real sodomy from the Jewish perspective is very different. And they gave 7 examples of the moral corruption of the people of Sodom and Gomorrah. Legalize violence. When people saw a property that they like, they saw the owner of that property, and little by little, they broke a wall until that wall killed and collapsed above the owner, and they can buy that property. They didn't do it. There's stories of exploiting the weak, forcing an orphan and a widow to work double in order to get the same as every citizen. They even talk that the judges were corrupt. The Talmud says that there were 4 judges in Sodom: Shakrai, Shakurai, Saphai, Matzlei, Dina. In English, liar, liar, forger, perverter of justice. And also cruel hospitality. They say at the beginning, says, yes, if you want to come, we can take care of you. Come to our town. And if the person who came was longer than the bed, they will cut the legs. And if the person that came was shorter than the bed, they will extend him. This is a metaphor, my friends. To what? That everybody needed to look exactly like them. If the hospitality that they share was not exactly what they can offer, it didn't fit. And the worst story that the Talmud brings about the sin of Sodom is as follows. When there was a beggar, when there was somebody who did not have money, and they will ask money they will give him money. Each one will give them a coin, but they will write their name in the back of the coin. And they will make a covenant between the people of Sodom. It says, everybody give tzedakah to him. Let's do what the Torah says that we need to do. Let's give tzedakah to them. But nobody is able to sell him bread. So the beggar died of hunger, and then everybody went to the deceased and collected each one of the coins that they had. And there are stories after stories, always with this theme. An immorality connected with money, with their abundance. Why, says the Talmud, that they begin to sin? Because of the abundance that God decided to give to them. And for that, they didn't have any cure. So in this next week Torah portion, come next week, all that land that was the source of the sin full of good produce will last in waste forever up to today. If you go today to the cities that they say it was Sodom, you cannot grow anything over there. So why I'm sharing you this idea this evening? First, so we can learn something. That us as Jews, we have another understanding what the moral corruption of Sodom was. And the second one is that many times the way that we decide to make interpretations or what emphasis we put in the Torah, in our holy text, talk much more about ourselves than the text itself. You can take it from one place or to the other. Shabbat Shalom. Please rise for Aleinu Leshabeach on page 586.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויה רצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגר עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
We remain standing on page 598. We'll find the mourners Kaddish to remember our honor, our loved ones who passed away. We remember the recent passing of Leon Oscar Lechman, Aryeh ben Ephraim HaKohen, and also the Yortzeit anniversary of the passing of Miriam Allman, Lynn Althusser, Beatrice Abster, Herman Bernstein, William Blitz, Stanley Bloomberg, Gadlin Bodner, Nathaniel Kohler, Katie Dernis, Arthur Eisenson, James Farber, Bernice Feller, Shirley Goldberg, Ray Green, Samuel Gursky, Sherwin Handmacher, Laura Helf, Rosa Kowalskis, Franz Laser, Mary Levy, Fanny Minkowitz, Mary Moskowitz, Faye Okun, Theodore Pincus, Marilyn Rizzo, Rose Farber Rubin, Sheldon Shapiro, Jen Toder Silverstein, Leon Steinberg, Alfred Stern, Francis Weiser and Leonard Weiser, Morris Weitzner, Benjamin Weiner. In the memory, together with the mourners. Itgadal behitkadash shemer rabba, balma dibra chirute be'amblich malchute, bechayechon ubiomechon, uchayei dechol beit Israel, bagalau bisman karib beimbru. Amen. יהא שמיה רבה מבורך לעולם עולמי עולמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפואר ויתרומם ויתנשא. ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה. תושבחתה ונחמתה. דמירם בלמה באמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה. בחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל באמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל באמרו amen. We may be seated, and we invite our President, Erin Dernis, to share the announcements.
Shabbat Shalom. It feels so good to be back. I realize that this is actually the first Shabbat I've been here in almost a month, and I missed it. I missed being here with all of you, the space, this community, and this feeling of Shabbat. It's something that grounds me every week, and being away reminded me how special it really is. A lot can happen in a month. The world continues to turn, our community continues to grow, and life keeps moving at full speed. But Shabbat asks us to pause, to breathe, to reconnect with one another, with our faith, and with ourselves. There's so much happening here at Temple. The Mega Halabake is Thursday, November 13th. I heard through the grapevine there are only 25 tickets left, so make sure to claim one. The Sisterhood is having a craft event at the TBO campus on Sunday, November 16th. On that same day, Temple Friends is hosting an event where Marty Purdak will be performing. Marty has performed in the Catskills and at nightclubs, and it should be tons of fun. And lastly, our Lihio group invites the congregation for a community viewing of the movie The Ringer, which features our very own Edward Barbanel, a Lihio group member and talented established actor. This will be on Wednesday, November 19th, here at Kolami campus. Wishing you all a good week ahead. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Erin. And thank you very much for all your leadership yesterday in the golf tournament. Was good? So, tomorrow morning, service is 9:30 a.m. And today, I was sure we were not going to have kids. No, we don't have any kids. Do we have any kids? No kids. I was sure.
Wow. That's never happened.
I was sure. We plan ahead. That's good. I don't like that there was no kids, but I always like to be right, okay? So I take that one at least. I take that one. So let's do something. Today you all became our angels, our malachim. So we don't have the kids to come up to the bima. Please, when we sing Shalom Aleichem, come forward so all together we can do Shalom Aleichem, Kiddush, and Amotzi.
Just wanted to take one moment to thank Darren Mattias, who is accompanying tonight. You maybe have to share a little bit of news which is not really great news for us, but it's something that Mary wants. Mary is actually emigrating to Germany in a few weeks' time. A tremendous loss for us, but we're happy that you're fulfilling something that you would like to do. We're happy for you, and in a couple of weeks' time we will be having a service where during the service we will have a tribute to Mary, our accompanist and musical director for these 5 years, feels like forever in a good way, and we welcome Darren as well for a beautiful accompaniment this evening as well. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. So please come up with us for Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malkei Yashar, Malkei Yor, Mimelech, Malkei Amelakim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu, Malkei Shalom, Malkei Shalom, Malkei Yor, Mimelech, Malkei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitzchem l'shalom, Malekei Hashamayim, Malekei Eyon. Mi-melech, Malekei HaMelekim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Let's do the L'chaim together, okay? Let's do the Kiddush together. And it's beautiful to have you up on the bima. Maybe we're going to do it more often, okay? Very good. Surrounding the kids, okay? Baruch atah Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kideshanu b'mitzvotav beratza banu בשבת קודשו, באהבה וברצון, הנחילנו זיכרון למעשה בראשית, כי יום תחילה למקראי קודש, סכר ליציאת מצרים, כי בנו בחרת,
Tanu kidashta mikol mi'ava u'beratzon hinachatani.
Share the bread with everybody, okay? Let's share our abundance, okay? May that be the blessing of this Shabbat. Every blessing that God gave us, may we have the privilege to share with loved ones, with no one, even with strangers when they are in need. Please join me like the kids, but without the hands. Right. Shabbat shalom.